Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. What does it mean to be courageous? Is it being unafraid of danger or taking risks? Or is there something more to it than that? In this video, in this episode, we're going to explore what courage is and how it can be a powerful force for change. So stay tuned to our show tonight. We are glad that you're here. If you're new and you don't know me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, and we help to encourage you to take charge of your life, your health, avoid complications, live a healthy life, go to that next level, and get that life you've always been wanted. You caught us during this month. We are in our live every day in August, day number 14. Let's see, it's over here. Is it that way? Yeah, that over here somewhere, right? Yeah, live every day in August, day number 14. And we've been talking about designing a new me. So working on ourselves to design a new version of ourselves. That's what we've been doing the last 14 days, basically. So we're glad that you are here. If you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and maybe some music. We are building this community, we are building this channel, and we want to say hello and welcome you to the channel. If you have questions, go ahead and put that in the comments. If you're here on YouTube, Q with a colon so that we know that that is a question. If you're on some of the other social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, go ahead and you could just send us a message. You can hop over here to YouTube as well. You can send us a message at dwood at dwaynewoodmd.com, dwood at dwaynewoodmd.com. On all of our social media platforms, that is our name, Dwayne Wood MD, right? So Dwayne Wood MD, you can find us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it is there. I think we even got a Twitch account. So go ahead and join us. And so we're happy that you are here. Well, let's just hop into it. So what is courage? What is courage? And so courage, let's use as our working definition, the mental decision to make a move forward despite being afraid. The mental decision to make a move forward despite being afraid. That's the ability to do, the ability to perform in the face of fear. Now, this is not the same as bravery. So bravery, by definition, says that there may not be any fear. Right? Notice the difference. So someone who's brave, there may not be a fear component. That's just them. That's just where they are. But courage, on the other hand, is the ability to see and feel the fear, and to still proceed despite those feelings. The heart's racing, the stomach is churning, you're sweating, the palms are moist, right? All those feelings that we get. So despite that, we still persevere. That's one of the things that we talked about with our son early on, right? There were times when he said, hey, I'm afraid of that, or I don't feel good, or I don't want to do that. And we were teaching him that despite the fact that he felt fear, he could still do it. And that's going to be an interesting point that we'll make here in just a little bit. So the question is, who needs courage? Who needs courage? And the answer is that we all do. We all need courage. We all need courage for us to be able to do the things that we do. And sometimes we think that courage has to be involved with this larger than life, this big momentous occasion or some huge perceived danger. But we all have courage. We get up every day and we go to work. We get in the car. We deal with people around us. We interact with people in our circle. All of that takes courage, because part of our life is not knowing what's going to happen. There's this unknown. There are stresses in our life. There are things that we're going through, and we all are pushing through. And so courage doesn't have to be you climbing a mountain or, lifting a car or, swooping in and saving somebody from, from some mortal danger. Every day, we show courage when we wake up and we step out. Courage comes to people, more courage, I guess I should say, to people who intentionally go after it, or people who are taught. Most of us will say that we could be more courageous. I wish I was more courageous. I wish I was more like such and such. That's one of the reasons that we love superheroes. We love superheroes because they give us a glimpse of what's beyond us. Superheroes, they open this veil, if you will, and allow us to see and sometimes imagine what we could be, what we could do, if only. If only I was from Krypton. If only I had the Green Lantern ring. If only I was from Asgard. If only I had the mechanics, the iron suit. If only I was in the Batcave. If only I was from Themyscira. Yeah, you guys see I'm a superhero geek, right? Right. If only. Now, here's an interesting thing. If you watch all of the superhero movies, and in order for the movie to be good, right? In order for the movie to really captivate us, there's this supposedly ordinary person in a lot of cases, right? So there are, the demigods and those who are born with power. But in order for the superhero to get to where we really appreciate them, that superhero has to go through a change. So whether they're born and some adverse event happens, something happens in their life, or they're born with whatever the abilities are, but they don't trust themselves. And they've got to go through a change to become more courageous. And then we're like, yeah, so we're rooting for that guy, right? Or that gal. But I want you to notice the course that they took. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't think they could do it. They didn't think that they had the ability. They didn't think that they were strong enough. They were smart enough, fast enough, more powerful enough. But they had to come to the place where their courage increased. So a lot of us get our sense of courage as we're growing. One of the things that has to happen for children to mature, and I dare say for us as adults as well, is we have to learn that we are going to be okay even if things don't turn out the way we thought they should or the way we want. Wow, that's a good one, right? So think of your kids, think of your child, think of if you have kids, if you have grandchildren, right? Think of what you're trying to teach that young person. Why do we sometimes say no? Why do we sometimes not give them, because some of you can buy a house, a car, or whatever for the kid. Why do we say no sometimes? Or when something happens, right? That's why I love this idea of sports, right? So we put kids in sports because we're trying to teach them a lot of things. Like I mean, there are some of us out there, right? Rightly so, that see some value, or not value, but some ability in your child, your grandchild, your cousin, your niece, your nephew. You say, okay, this person, this kid can be a great football player, basketball player, tennis player, golf, right? So we go through all of those things. But most of those kids are not going to end up in professional sports. So why do we do it? And I dare say that sometimes we do it because we're trying to teach a lot of different things. Sportsmanship, being a team player, persevering, commitment, sticking to your word. When you say, yeah, I'm going to be on the team, you're on the team. And courage. That even though you may not feel like it, even though you may be afraid, that you still can move forward. So what does courage do? What does courage do for us? So courage allows us to expand and grow. If we didn't have courage, we would not try new things. We wouldn't meet new people. We would not learn. We would stay in our little box, going through the motions. But courage allows us. Courage says, okay, yeah, I'm going to be okay. Even though that's uncertain, even though that's unknown, even though, right? Even though courage says, come on, let's do it. Right? So what builds courage? What builds it? What causes it to grow and get more, right? So courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So there are things that are in our lives right now, things that we're afraid of. I mean, it can be, and I'm not even going to go through the list of things that people are afraid of, right? One of the things people are afraid of is public speaking. Some people are afraid of being in crowds. Some people are afraid of being in closed spaces. Some people are afraid of heights. Some people are afraid of water, frogs, insects. Some people are afraid of putting themselves out there. They're afraid of being authentic. They're afraid that people are not going to like the real them. So as a result, they put on this facade. They put on this air, if you will. They put on this this mask. And because they do that, they are not fulfilled. They're not being authentic to who they are. Remember what we're talking about. We're talking about designing a new us. Designing a better us, an advanced us. Designing an us that is more capable, more well-rounded. And I keep making this point, right? And the point is this, that your life could be like 100. You could be living the dream. But if you're not changing, if you're stagnant, then things begin to die. And so the courage to expand, the courage to grow, the courage to improve, all of that's what we're talking about. So what stops people from being courageous? All right, because we all have some level of courage, some piece of courage. You know what stops it? This thing right here, our brain. Oh yeah. Right. So all the things that come into us, all the experiences that we've had. So when a baby is born, right? There's this reflex that the baby has. It's called the startle reflex, or another name would be the Moreau reflex. And you've seen it. You've probably seen it if you've had kids or you've been around babies, right? And it is a reflex where they get startled either by a sound, a touch, bright lights, any cold, right? And so they kind of, they flare their arms and their legs, their palms open, and then they come back in. Right? It's called the startle reflex. And babies are typically born with it. And it goes away anywhere between 3 to 6 months, roughly. And that baby, you put them on the ground, and unless there's something physically wrong with that child, what do? As soon as they can, they're trying to lift their head. They're trying to pull up on stuff. They're trying to walk. Oh yeah. That's what we do. We are built for that. We're built to explore. We're built to expand. And so our experiences sometimes will cause us to kind of pull in. So why are we not more courageous? Because we remembered when we failed. We remembered the pain of something that happened. We remembered that abusive relationship. We remembered that that problem that we had on the job. We remembered the pain of trying to exercise. We remembered the failed investment, the failed property, the failed book, the failed video, the failed YouTube channel, the failed Instagram account, the failed relationship, the failed pregnancy. We remember. And so now there is this thing that says, yeah, let's not do that. We were there before, we did it. It didn't feel so good. So yeah, let's not try that anymore. And not only let's not try that, let's not try something else. Let's not try the other stuff. Yeah. So we can have courage in situations, circumstances, if we allow it, can cause our courage to shrink and look as though we don't have courage. It's always a choice. It's always a choice to move forward or stay stuck. And often the choice to move forward is the scariest one. Sometimes, even though we don't like where we are, even though we are not comfortable where we are, even though we want to move, the devil that we know is better than the devil we don't. It requires courage to face our fears and to take that first step. But, staying stuck is not without its own dangers, right? It can lead to regret, missed opportunities, and the feeling of powerlessness. So which is worse? The fear of moving forward or the regret of staying stuck? Only you can answer that question for yourself. But courage is what gives us the strength to make that choice. Even when we are afraid. Let me keep saying that. Even when we're afraid. And sometimes moving forward is the only way to get unstuck. Remember, there's a difference between bravery and courage. Between bravery and courage. Nelson Mandela once said that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over fear. Learning how to be courageous in the face of fear takes practice and persistence, which is what we've been talking about. Think about it like learning a new skill. Once you've mastered it, it can be extremely liberating. And being brave when the situation calls for it can also be cultivated. So how do we build courage? How do we build courage? How do we build courage? One, we have got to face the things that we fear. So acknowledge and confront your fear. Don't pretend that it doesn't exist. Yes, I'm afraid of putting money down on a new house. I'm afraid of starting a new degree. I'm afraid of getting into a new relationship, right? And so I'm just grabbing stuff off the top of my head. All those things we're afraid of. So acknowledge it and confront it with help. Acknowledge it, confront it with help. So don't pretend that you're not afraid. I remember when I was going through medical school and into residency, and I was talking to one of our attendings. And, you know, our attendings, our doctors, you know, they're the ones who are training us, and we go out there and we're telling them all this stuff about patients. And I said to one of them once, I said, man, you just seem like, you know, everything is on point, right? And he said to me, I have to be here, and I have to train all of you guys, gals who are coming through. But that does not mean that when I see a patient, that sometimes there's not some doubt. Not doubt about me, but doubt about this particular patient, because everybody's different. So I've got to go into my head. I've got to listen to what you guys are telling me. I've got to look at all the data, and I've got to come up with a plan that this person's life depends on. Can you imagine I'm trying to think of a word. Could you imagine the awesome responsibility that takes? And to do that day in and day out, patient after patient after patient after patient. That takes courage. So acknowledge that there is fear, and confront it. Next thing is to get comfortable being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. So everything that you try, everything that we do is not going to succeed. There are going to be failures. Everything's not going to work the way we think it should. There will be times when we are not comfortable. But the benefit of moving through that is that we get to be and we get to learn and we get to expand and we get to grow and we get to be the person that we are trying to become. If you endure. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you that if you want that cut body, right? If you want to lose that weight, that is going to be all perfect. If you want to control those blood sugars, if you want to rebuild that relationship that was broken, if you want to save the business, if you want to change your financial status, if you want to get a new degree, if you want to rise up, move up in your company, if you want to step out and be more social, more marketable, but the benefits are enormous if we do that. So get comfortable being uncomfortable. Next thing is practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness and positive self-talk. Mindfulness and positive self-talk. So this idea of mindfulness, you remember I said that one of the things that stops people from being courageous is their memory. The other thing that stops people from being courageous is that they're thinking about the future. What is it going to be like? Am I going to make it? Am I making a good decision? Is this beneficial? Is she going to like me? Is he going to like me? Are we going to last? Are we going to have a successful pregnancy? Is the business going to grow? Is it going to survive? Am I good enough to go out on my own? To start the business, to start the practice, to start my own firm, to start my own practice, to start my own business, to write my own book, to have my own clients, my own patients, to do my own videos. Right? Fear of the unknown. Just memory of the past, fear of the unknown. But mindfulness, part of it says that right now, this moment, right now, I am okay. There's a book that I read, a friend of mine gave me, and it's a wonderful book, really helped me at the time and transformed some of my thinking. The Power of Now. The Power of Now. That says, the past is gone. I can't do anything about it. The future is not here yet, but at this moment, I'm okay. And so sometimes thinking about the things that are causing us to not be courageous is recognizing that right now I'm okay. And positive self-talk that I'm going to be okay, that it's going to work out, right? So sometimes we start trying things and we're like, oh, that's not going to work. Remember, our brains, our minds are an amazing thing. It will do and it will find for you whatever you tell it. So if the moment you think of doing something different, something that is expanding you, something that's causing you to grow, you say, okay, that's not going to work. The brain says, okay. He said it's not going to work, so it's not going to work out. So begin positive self-talk. Be mindful. Right now, I'm okay. Right now, I'm okay. Tomorrow, I don't know, but at this moment, we're good. Find a mentor or support group or counselor or coach. Don't try to do it by yourself. Many of us could be so much further along than where we are, but we try to do it by ourselves. Now, I am not a, let me change that. Positive self-talk. I am good at doing minor things around the house. I've got a whole set of tools out there. I got a workbench. But I'm not getting up on the roof to change any of the tiles up there. The shingles, right? I'm not taking out a wall. That's not what I do. I could do it. I can go, I can read up on it. I can get the right tools and I could try it. Well, not try, but I can go do it. And it probably will get done. But how long would it take me? Or I can pick up the phone and I can call the guy who I see riding around here and say, hey, something's on my roof or something needs to be done with my roof. Come on over. And I've seen, like across the street, they came in, I saw the trucks one day and the next day the entire roof was done. How long do you think it would have taken me to do that? So there are people that's what they do. So don't do it by yourself. Bounce ideas off of other people. There are support groups. You can find them in YouTube and Facebook and online, all around. For whatever the thing is that you're afraid of. If it's a business, right? Find some business people. If you're afraid of speaking, go find a group in your area. Right? Do they still do Toastmasters? I don't know. Right? Volunteer somewhere at your church, in your organizations. Go to a meeting, go to a group where you guys just, in the meeting, you talk to each other. You stand up. You got to give a speech. You got to give a introduction. You've got to give a little talk on something. You've got to do a persuasive speech. Take a class. Right? So all those are things that you can do. And once again, we're talking about how we are building courage. Have confidence and believe in your ability to be courageous. I love this one. I love that video or that picture that's on the screen, right? Because that's the little cat and he's looking in the mirror and he sees a lion. Remember, we are building a new version of ourselves. The positive self-talk that we talked about is part of that. Don't compare yourself to other people. Their path is different from yours. They may be further ahead. They may be behind you, right? But they're not you. Have confidence in your ability and believe that you can do it. Trust that if you follow the plan, courage will grow. Yes. Remember we talked a couple of videos ago about routines and behaviors that we can do, right? Yeah. If you follow the plan, it's going to happen. You have to believe that. And then practice self-care. So remember that self-care is where you take care. Do you know the most valuable thing that you have is your body and your time? So self-care, get sleep. And I can't even, we did a video on sleep, but I can't tell you all the things that sleep does. But sleep makes you more focused, makes you more creative when you get good quality sleep. It makes your hair look better, makes your skin look better, gives you a better attitude, helps you lose weight, controls your blood sugar, helps you deal with depression and anxiety and stress. It decreases your cortisol levels. How many things is that I said? That's sleep. That's sleep by itself. That's all. And then exercising, good nutrition, learning how to manage stress. All of these things will help us as we are building a new us, as we grow our courage. It takes courage to move beyond your past. And you've got to evaluate your current situation and be honest about where you are. Right? That's the whole building a new us. Got to face the future despite not having a clear path ahead. And it helps us to relate to the world around us better. And you've got to relate to the world around you in good faith. Knowing that if you do the things that we outlined, if you're growing, if you're getting better, then you are doing what you need to do. So how do we build that courage? Acknowledge and confront our fears. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Practice mindfulness and positive self-talk. Find a mentor, a support group, a counselor, a coach. Have confidence and believe in your ability to be courageous and practice self-care. If you do that, then you are on your way to designing this new version of yourself. And when you get there, oh my God, it is amazing, the benefits. We thank you for being with us. If you are getting benefit from our video, if you're getting benefit from this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, share it with your family and friends. Let them know that we are here. Go ahead and like us. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and you can send us a friend request. Look at us on LinkedIn and Twitter, right? Go ahead and tweet those out again. Come back for the next video. We are on day, let's see, I got to look, day 14. We are on day 14. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so that you'll know when we get new videos out. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, and we help to encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Go to that next level and get the life you've always wanted. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get some music and get on out of here.